Today I'm going to start the repair job on the boat after hitting all the rocks on my last trip. This is one of the worst ones here, where we're cracked right through the gel coat right down to the underlying material. I've done my research online, and as a result I've bought this Dremel tool to try to remove any looseness here and open up cracks, as I've done over here, so that the material has enough space to bond to. Also, here's one here. So I'm going to work on this next with the Dremel tool, and you can perhaps see what it's like when I get done with that. Then I've got this major scratch here. It gets really deep in here, right down to the underlying fiberglass. That I'm going to have to work with, but I'm going to work on the other pieces first. Well, this is what it looks like after I've cleared out the loose material and feathered the edges for the application of the new gel coat here. I'm going to have to sand the whole area here and try to fill in some of these other scratches, but they're pretty much surface stuff at this point. So that's where that is at the moment. We'll keep working on the bottom here until we're ready to do the gel coat. Alright, the next step, according to the instructional videos that I read, is to tape off the area that you're going to be working on. And you can see how extensive this is, the kind of damage that was done. I've got holes all the way up here. I've got the scratch, deep scratch all along here. A hole at the other end. Holes. The idea here is to provide a barrier between where the gel coat will end and the rest of the boat, so that you're not just slobbering it all over the place. In order to do the sanding here, I'm going to have to set another layer of tape just inside by 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch, so that I can remove it and replace it when I want to do the gel coating. Or just, what you want to do is be sure that you're sanding all the way to the edge before you put the gel coat on. So that's my next step, sanding. I've got my 2 layers of tape here. Here's the sacrificial piece inside, and I've started sanding. I've been using this medium sanding block here. It doesn't tell me what the grade is, but I've compared it with 120 grit paper, and it seems to be about the same. So, and they recommend using a block, not just the paper. So I'm using this, and I've taken the finish off. It's dulled down, which is what it's supposed to be. So this particular part here seems to be ready for the gel coat. Now I'll go work over on here and take it from there. Here you can see some of the sanding. It's tough to dig into this job like this and start sanding in the bottom of the boat and grinding out pieces and so forth, not having done this before and not knowing what the result's going to be. But it's just come to the time when I need to do that, and the damage that was done here over this last trip must be repaired in some way. So we'll see how it turns out. It may look good, it may look bad, but in any case it should repair the problem. Well, I've finished the sanding and done a little more grinding here on this scratch so that it will fill well. I don't see any damage to the edges here that I put the second layer on, so I'm not going to remove it and replace it. I'm going to leave it as is. The sanding did not seem to bother it. I went right over it and it seemed to be fine. So the next step is to figure out how to mix up the gel coat itself and then begin applying it. And I'm probably going to do it in a couple of small batches, because it sets up in about 10 minutes. So we'll see how far I can get before it sets up on me. The material I'm going to use here is a West Marine gel coat. It's a white gel coat, should match the bottom of my boat. It says it's non-run, non-sag formula, so we'll see how it works. Okay, I have applied the gel coat, quite extensive as you can see, plus the other side, and I've covered it with wax paper. This is wax paper. Over here there's a mylar strip which I had left over from my boat building, but the wax paper seems to work pretty well. And then I used this squeegee from my building of Pinguino to distribute the gel coat material evenly, and so we're going to let that set, and then I'll be pulling the plastic off and the tape off, and once it's hardened up enough, we'll start to wet sand. Well, I've got most of the tape off and the plastic up. This has been taking its time to harden, which probably means that given the conditions I've got today, I didn't get quite enough hardener in the material. It is hardening, but it's not. It's just taking its time, and as a result, some of the gel coat, the new gel coat, has pulled away as I took up the plastic, and some of the edges along the tape have pulled up. I don't love the way it looks at the moment, but I've got a lot of sanding to do yet, so we'll see what it looks like then, and then I may have to touch up a few voids, especially over here. But we'll just get the sanding underway after this is set up a little more, and then we'll see what it looks like. At this point, I've started wet sanding this area. I've done the 220 grit, and we'll be going to a finer grit as we proceed. But you can see, this is a little whiter, but they say it'll fade into what the rest of it looks like before long. And you can see I got more to take off here. I got a little bit of a void here. I don't know what will happen if I take it down farther. I'll keep doing that. And you can see what it, this is what it's like before I start working on it. But so far, so good. I'll have to decide whether I'm going to go back and, try to clear up little things like this and this, or whether I just leave them and say, good enough for now. We'll see. The process I'm using here is wet sanding. This is a soft block with 220 grit paper, wet sandpaper on it. I dip it in the bucket, work up here, dry it with the cloth, wipe it with the cloth, then go back and do some more. That's the process at the moment. I finished with the first sanding here with the 220 grit paper, and I think at this point I am going to mix up a little more of the material and try to fill some of these voids, like here and here and here, a little bit here, and a lot over here. I can't figure what the deal was with this, but this didn't take it all. This time I'm going to use a little more hardener so that it'll set up faster, and I may do a little more taping just to keep things safe. The gel coat repair is done, at least for now. and it's less than perfect, but it's pretty good. And I've seen some other gel coat repairs that look pretty ugly. This one does not. I'll show you what the status is at the moment. This is the series of scratches here. You can see that the gel coat that I've replaced with is a little lighter. I'm told that in time that'll darken to match the rest of the hull. That's a normal process. Here we are moving along. You can see here's a little more extensive stuff, but it's nice and smooth. And I've been able to polish it up to at least as good as the rest of the boat. This patch was the biggest one. It's probably the most obvious. You can see here there's a little bit of thinning of the gel coat along the edges. I probably should have made it a little wider to take care of that. And for whatever reason, I continue to get some little voids in here. I don't know if you can see them. I've gone over it like 3 times, and I still wind up with a little void there. So I'm just going to live with it for now, and if it cracks out or whatever, I'll do it again. But for a first time, without any previous experience in doing this kind of work, I'm really pretty well pleased. The hull is back kind of together. It's got plenty of scratches, but I use my boat a lot, so I expect that. But the big damage is all taken care of. So that's it for now.